Welcome back to the garage. This is where we left off. Motor's in the frame, and we're getting ready to, let me just readjust here a little bit. There we go. Motor's in the frame, everything's tightened down. If you guys want to see how I got to this point, watch video 1. So what we're going to do now is we're going to assemble the clutch side, we're going to put the cover on, we're going to button this all up, and then we're going to move over to the stator side. But one thing I wanted to show you is, this is the shift shaft that I took out of the other motor that I'm stripping to build this motor. And I don't know if you can see, the splines on there are pretty jacked up. So I have a couple of extra motors laying around, and I pulled the shift shaft out of another one, and I just want to compare them here real quick. I don't know if you guys can see the difference here. These splines here are really worn, and the shift lever was like floppy, and it was all the way tight. And because the splines are all worn out here, it was never going to grab tight, and it would just end up working its way loose and stripping. So I have a good one. One of the benefits of having parts engines, I guess you don't have to buy stuff and order it. I'm going to put a little bit of oil on that, and we're going to slide it right in. Alright, shift shaft's in. Let's put a little bit of oil on this. I like to oil everything up. Put some oil in there. Oil in the bearings, a bit on here, just a little, nothing fancy. Keep everything lubed. All right, so now what I want to do is I need to put the pins in, and then I need to get an O-ring for that. One pin. The other pin. Put a little bit of oil in here. Let's get it to lock in. There we go. It's locked in. Washer. Inner hub. There we go. And the lock ring. And the nut. All right, now the clutch. This is the clutch that came out of the clutch pack, and it has the factory half clutch plate for smooth engagement, which I always delete because it's not necessary. This clutch looks pretty worn. It's probably usable, but I have this clutch. See, 2 clutches. I have this clutch pack that I got out of a 426 clutch that I bought used. It came, I needed the inner hub, and I got the whole thing. And these plates here, I don't know if you can see them. These plates look brand new. So I'm going to use these. This also has the half disc and the spacer washer, which the other one didn't even have the spacer washer. So I'm going to delete this, and then I'm going to use one of these full discs here in its place, and I'm going to throw this pack in now. I switched out the metal discs, and that's because the other ones look like they had been sitting for a long time, and they had some pitting on it from the clutch being in the same spot all the time. So I switched them out to the other ones, which should be fine. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm buying all these buying all these project bikes has really saved me a ton of money on parts, because I haven't had to really buy much parts because I've been using them out of the parts engines. So it's been a pretty good deal so far. All right, let's put the shift rod in. A little bit on here too. And now the ball bearing, and then the pusher. There we go. I'm going to make sure that you move the lever so you get that to seat. And then we'll add the, put a little bit on here. Put a little bit of oil where the pusher sits. All right, I'm gonna put the screws in, tighten them down, and come back. How many guys screaming at his TV right now saying, "Hey, dummy, you forgot to tighten the nut." Boy, that would have been catastrophic. Let me get my impact gun. Oh boy. Let me get a rag. This way if it catches, I won't destroy my fingers. But I've never really had a problem doing it this way. That should do it. Alright, she's bent over. Alright, let me get back to where we once were. And I'll come back when I'm done. Alright, I'm gonna put the new O-ring on this. Alright, here's the gasket. Let's get this on there. Now we need to install this. This is the oil mod that I did to the side of this cover. I haven't used it yet because I haven't had the need to. The other bike that I did, I already had a cover on it before I got around to putting this on this. So here's the oil mod. I want to install the O-ring right now. All right, the O-ring is on there now. This basically goes in this hole that we machined in that video. And now I just have to push that in there, but I'm gonna oil this up because I don't want to tear that O-ring. All right, it's in. That's the oil mod. All right, let's get this thing in there. We gotta kind of rotate a little bit until we get the water pump to go in. There we go. All right, let me push this down a tad. All right, that should do it. All right, we got them all snugged up. Now I'm gonna put this in here with a new O-ring. And we're gonna tighten the oil line back up. All right, let's pop this guy on. All right, let's snug them up. I reused the gasket on this. It looked good. I didn't see any issues with it. If it leaks, we'll change it out. All right, I did a few things off camera. I got the stator cover on. I got the wire run. They're connected. I put the gears in for the starter drive. I'm going to install the starter now. I'll put you in the stand and I'll show you that because I'm going to put the wires on and stuff. All right, I bought a brand new starter. There it is. Brandy new. All right, let's install it. So basically, you just got to take these two screws out right here. Gonna put a little bit of oil on the O-ring, just so it slides in and it doesn't tear on me. And we just slide it right in. The reason why I wanted to do this, show you guys this, is because you should always ground your motor to the starter. That way there your starter has the full power of the battery and the full ground of the battery. And like I said, this is a lot easier to do when the motor's still apart, because there's not a lot of room down here to swing a wrench once it's all together. Well, I went to my one of my parts bins and I found a lower roller for this, which is still good. It's a little bit worn, but it's tight. The bearing's still good. This bin's nice, so put that in. I picked this up, the seat up off another parts bike that I picked up, and it's really not the right color to go along with this build. But what I did notice is whoever put the seat cover on here, all they did with this, they went over the factory seat cover. So I'm hoping that the factory seat cover is not torn or ripped or anything, and I can take this red and black one off and we'll go with the black and silver, which will match the blue and black plastics much better, because I don't have a seat for that for that ATV, because when I took it in as a parts machine, it didn't come with a seat or a gas tank or exhaust, which I had purchased already. So this seat's gonna do us fine, and I'm gonna remove the cover and see what it looks like. All right, got all the staples out of it. I haven't pulled the cover off yet. I figured we'd do it together, see what the seat looks like. Hopefully it's not torn. To get fingers crossed. Oh yeah, this seat's like brand new. That's a massive score. That's gonna look much better on that black and blue bike. Awesome. And there's nothing wrong with this cover. I took it off. All I did was pull the staples out. So this will go in storage. And the next time I get a YFZ450 that needs a seat cover, I have one. All right, so I cleaned the gasket surface here. As you can see, I stoned it, stoned the back side, and I don't know if you can see the bore, but I honed it real quick just to give it some cross hatching. There's no scoring, there's no gouges, nothing. Cylinder's good to go. I got the new rings in. The piston looks good too. There's no issues with the piston. So we are going to reuse it, but I am going to re-ring it. So these are the new rings. And before we go any further, I want to check the ring end gap. All right, the top ring is this one. And the ring gap should be between 12 and 16 thousandths. The 12 goes right in. So we'll try the 16, but at this point here, as long as the 12 goes in, that's all I really care about, because you don't want this ring to touch and seize up. And the 16 goes halfway in, so we're good. This one's good. Let's check the oil ring. And this one is 15 to 25 thousandths. So we'll just go in with the 16 on this one. And of course, this 16 don't even go in. I'm not looking to, I'm going to do it on both sides. I'm not looking to take a lot off. That should do it. That 16 still tight. Still a little tight, so I'm going to do it again. All right. 16 goes in now. Let me try the 18. And the 18 goes in. So we loosened it up pretty good. Just to check it with the 25 now and make sure the 20. Actually, we'll just go with the 20. And the 20 doesn't go in. So we're good. I'm going to go install the rings on the piston, and then I'm going to install the cylinder, and I'll come back when I'm done. All right, I have the rings on and the gasket on. Now this right here, I didn't have the two parts motors I got. They were missing that thing, so I had to order a few. Anyways, this is the part number in case you're wondering, and there it is right there. And I also have an O-ring for it. So let me put that on and show you. That's what it looks like when it's assembled. And it just goes inside this hole right here like that. You push it down until it bottoms out, and that seals the water cavity, or the water jacket, going up to the cylinder and then eventually to the head. All right, guys, I'm gonna set the valve lash. I always set the valve lash on the bench when I have the head off. It's so much easier than trying to do it in the bike, trying to get your hands in there, trying to deal with the shims and the shims and the feeler gauges and pulling the cams in and out. It's just so much easier to do it here on the bench. Oh, before I go away, before I finish up what I'm doing, I reconditioned this head, and I just want to show you real quick. Without losing my buckets here. Hopefully I won't. Anyway, you can see that I reconditioned it. I don't know if you guys remember what this head looked like previously. It was pretty bad. It's all reconditioned, seals, everything, and it's ready to go. So I gotta stop talking and get to work. All right, it's all shimmed and ready to go. Just to recap, the intake valves are shimmed at 4 to 6 thousandths. The exhaust valves are shimmed at 8 to 10 thousandths. And The 4 thousandths goes in, the 6 thousandths doesn't. The 8 thousandths goes in, the 10 thousandths doesn't. All done, ready to assemble. All right, one thing I want to show you before I move on is this right here. This is what used to be a decompression lever on these older heads. I think the 2004 and 5. They were still machining they were using up the heads that they had already machined with the decompression lever in it. The newer heads, the casting is blocked off here, and they never did the machining because they put decompression cams in, which you can see here. So what they did was they stuck a plug in there, just a sort of like a seal, but it had no hole in it, you know what I mean? And they're prone to blowing out. Sometimes when you get crankcase pressure, it'll blow that out of there, and you can lose all your oil. So there's companies out there now that make plugs. This is the one that I got off of eBay. It's made by Nitro 4-strokes, and is a Yamaha head plug, as you can see there. And there's really not much to it. I mean, it tells you how to install it, but on these directions right here, I guess I'll open it up so you guys can see it. And it tells you how to install it. Basically, you put it in there. Be careful that you don't strip the screw that's already there. Don't force it in. All that happy stuff. Obviously, we're not going to strip it. We're not going to force it in. And this is it right here. They come in different colors. You can get them in red, blue, silver, black. They didn't have any more silver, so I got black. Didn't really care for a colored one. So the screw here goes into this groove right there, and it keeps it from popping out. So basically we just got to loosen that up. I'll show you how to install it. And you can see there's a brass washer on there for a seal to keep oil from coming out. And I just want to lube that up a little bit. I always like to put oil on an O-ring just so it doesn't catch going in and tear. So I just put a light oil on it. And you can see there's a pretty good sized chamfer on here, so it should go right in. And then you just put it right in there. And it should be holding it now, which it is. And again, you don't want to over tighten this because it will strip very, very easily. And that's it. And you can see it's in there now. And that won't leak. So we're good to go. Alright guys, the head is on. And the bolts are just loose. And I just want to go over one thing with you really, really quick. On these engines, Yamaha is very specific in how you do the head, how you tighten the head on these motors. If you don't do it right, you will blow the head gasket, and you don't just blow the head gasket. What happens is the hot coolant ends up wearing a hole through the water cavity, and then it goes right into the cylinder, and you completely ruin the head. Not to mention you lose compression, you'll probably smoke, white smoke, the whole 9 yards. But it is very, very important. So you need to torque it in 3 sequences. The first sequence, you have to bring them down to 22 foot-pounds. And you have to do it in that specific order. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The second, then you have to loosen all the bolts. Take them out, put them back in. And then you tighten it to 22 foot-pounds. And then you mark the bolts right here. And then you turn them 90. And then you turn them all another 90 so that they're 180 degrees from your first mark. This is the only engine so far I've ever done that you've had to do this torque sequence on. And it's very, very important. If you don't do it, you're going to ruin the head. I just wanted to go over that with you guys. And again, if you want to watch this torque sequence be done, go back and look in my history, in my my library, and you will see it in the last series I did on one of these engines. All right, everything's torqued down. Cams are in. We are at top dead center. Looks like we're gonna have a serious storm in a minute here. You can see the timing mark there. Timing mark there. And let's get a light here. Oh, I already put the cover on. Anyway, it's at top dead center. I don't know if you guys can. I already put the cover on. Anyway, you look down there. You can see that the piston is all the way up. All right. What I like to do now is, oh, and I got the chain tensioner is in also. So what I like to do now is, it's very important to crank the engine over. I like to do it by hand before I hit it with the starter, just in case I have any interference, just in case anything hits, valves, anything, ring, stuck ring, who knows. So I like to go around probably, I don't know, 3 times maybe. So let's do it. Feels pretty good. I don't think we have any issues. All right, let's finish buttoning this up. I'm gonna put the plug back in here. I'm gonna put the cap on and torque that down. All right, we got the oil feed line going up to the head end. I have the top motor mount on. What else did I do? I hooked up the breather line for the oil tank. I also picked up the, or is that the, yeah, breather line for the oil tank. Breather for the top end of the motor. What else did I hook up? I hooked up the radiator hose. That's hooked up, top one anyway. Gonna still need to do the clutch cable. It's frayed, so I bought a new one, race driven. And we'll put that on. Probably do it tomorrow. I've been out here all day today. So I think that's what we're gonna do. It's probably only gonna take like 5 seconds for you guys, but it's gonna be 24 hours for me. So we got everything good here. I gotta come up with some type of studs. I got one stud, but I don't have another one. I might have to make one. I don't have any in hand right now, and I don't want to wait to order one. I installed the new clutch cable. As you can see, it's in all the way up, and works really nice. All right, that's done. Let me show you the old cable that I pulled off. This is the old one, and this is the reason why I pulled it off, because it's frayed and it would eventually snap. So I replaced it. And the cable itself, I bought that cable, race driven, got it on eBay. I think I paid 10 bucks for it. So 10 bucks well spent. All right, let's pop the oil filter in. And it is a HF141. All right, time to fill this thing with some oil and see if we got any leaks. All right, so now all I got to do is, I know I'm not fully buttoned up, but at this point, once I put oil in the motor, I like to crank the motor over with the starter to get oil to flow through all the passages, and then check the oil level again, plus it fills the filter, and top it off before I actually start it. But we got a janked up ignition, and when I bought it, say he lost the key. So I'm just going to cut this thing off, because it is no good. I'll toss it in the trash. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to hot wire this, and I'll show you how I'm gonna do it. What I have is I just have a standard switch, a little toggle, with a couple of leads off of it. And I strip them back. Alright, so this is a 4-wire ignition. You have 2 hots, and you have 2 wires that go to the accessories. One, I think, turns the starter on, and the other one, I think one gives power to the solenoid, and the other one goes out to the accessories. So I'm going to connect these 2 hot wires together with one side of the switch, and then I'm going to connect the other 2 wires to the other side of the switch. This is just temporary. I'll permanently wire this later. I have a new ignition switch. We're going to do a continuity, so when they touch them together you hear a beep. And we are going to check for continuity here. Alright, let's turn the switch off. Nothing. So the switch is working. Alright, let's hook a battery up and see what happens. Alright, I have my usual, the way I usually do it when I'm doing a first start on something is I just have a temporary battery off to the side with some jumper wires connecting to the positive and negative. Alright, let's make sure this is on. This is in the run position. Let's throw this switch. Alright, let's see if we have power to the starter. And we do not. Let's see if we have a neutral safety here. Oh, we do. All right, now there's no plug in it, no carburetor, there's no exhaust, so there's very little restriction at all. I'm going to check the oil, and if I need more, I'm going to top it off. All right, so I don't have any exhaust studs for this, so I went to the auto parts store and I bought a couple of bolts and a couple of flange nuts. These are the flange nuts and these are the bolts. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the head off the bolt and make them studs. And these are the nuts that I'm going to use to tighten down the exhaust. So I'm just going to basically cut them with a hacksaw in the vise and screw them in the head, and that's it. I'll put some Loctite on them though. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Alright, here they are. See, I cut the heads off and I chamfered them a little bit so they'll screw right in. And these are going to work perfectly. There you are. And these are going to work out just fine, just as good as factory. And basically the way I put these in is I doubled the nuts up on one side, used a wrench until they bottomed out. And I didn't overkill it because you don't want to crack the head. I did put Loctite on there, so once they dry, they're not going to come back out. That's the carburetor I had in my spare parts. And I jetted it, so we should be good to go. It's cleaned, and all we have to do is just pop it on. And I have the side plate and the screws. I also have the manifold. So I'm gonna go pop this on. I'm not gonna record it. Somebody cut the tours off. I have another carburetor down in my pots that I may have to cut the tours plug off and do a bypass. All right, I got the carburetor in. This throttle positioning sensor is in. This is the tours. I don't know if that's going to need to be bypassed or not. We'll find that out. Let's check for spark. Let's see if we have spark. All right, I'm going to check for spark, and hopefully you guys can see it. That is really good spark. All right, I am going to check the spark plug gap, and I'm going to install the plug. Okay, the exhaust is on. Tailpipe's on. I straightened this out. It was dented. Took it off. Hammered it out straight, put it back on. I put a coat of paint on it. I prefer flat, but I sent my wife to get it and she got semi-gloss. It is heat paint. It's paint for a wood stove, so I don't know. We're gonna go with it because I got it. All right. I got the carburetor full of fuel. I don't see it leaking. You can see right there at the fuel line, the fuel level's holding. It's not dropping, so the float's working. I guess all we can do at this point is start it. I'm gonna pull the choke out, and we're gonna give it a shot. Let me put you in the stand. All right, let's see what we got. Turn this on.
I think that's it.
Choke's on. We're full of oil, full of antifreeze. I don't see any leaks under here. The fluids have been in it for a couple hours now, and I don't see any drips, so I think we're good. All right, let's see what happens. We got a problem here with this safety switch up here. It's working that great. All right, I need to put a jump pack on this battery. I don't think it's strong enough. I shut the choke off a little too soon. Let me fill it back up. And we'll try that again. She ran out of gas. I think at this point here, we know it runs. It's probably going to need fine tuning. I might even need to rejet. We'll see. But as of right now, I'm happy. It runs. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to end this video, and the next video is going to be us. Well, me anyway. I'm gonna address this electrical work. I'm actually gonna spend a little bit of time and go into it in depth because you know, engine builds and stuff, I've done these a million times already. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but I've done them enough where you guys have plenty of that in my history to go back and watch. I don't have much on electrical, so I'm gonna go through the electrical on this. You know, mainly the ignition, and we still have the brakes to do. I still have to dress up the front. We still have the plastics to put on. We still got a chain and sprocket to put on, and grips, tank. I'm gonna put a graphics kit on this, so there's still tons more to do. And I'm gonna end video 2 here, and I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing. Thanks for all the comments, and hopefully what you guys saw so far in this was interesting. It was interesting for me because basically I made this bike out of leftover parts, and I think it's going to be a pretty nice bike. Somebody's going to be happy with it. All right, I guess that's it for me talking. I've been running my mouth long enough. I'll see you guys in the next video.